Hey guys, Prince of Macedon here. Going to do a commentary video for Medieval 2 Total War. And you're going to see that the video footage is live, but my commentary is added after the battle, and that's because I forgot to hit the record button. So I'm speaking after the battle, but everything that you're seeing is live footage. So you're going to see me making all my decision making and all my commands that I issue to my troops. So anyways, it's an Egypt versus Mongol battle. I'm commanding the Mongols by request. And I was happy to oblige this request because I happen to think the Mongols are one of my favorite factions of medieval times. I love Genghis Khan. But yeah, the rules were it was 15,000 florins. He said no spam, but there weren't any rules per se, but he said don't spam units and don't buy units once they hit the red line mark. And that was pretty much it. But he said basically no rules. So as for my army composition, I have 8 units of cav, 6 of them are melee, and they are in turn composed of 2 con guards, where my commander is, 4 Mongol heavy lancers. If you look at the user interface, they look exactly the same on the unit card, but they are actually different units. I also have 2 Mongol horse archers, 2 dismounted heavy archers, 4 dismounted archers, and 4 dismounted heavy lancers. Oh, and finally, 2 Nafatunes. And they're very deadly at close range. They basically throw Molotov grenades at the opponent. And I think a lot of times when people play these Medieval 2 battles, they limit their numbers. My opponent's also going to have 8 units of cav. 4 of his cav units will be melee, and the other 4 will be skirmish. And then he has an assortment of infantry. And he's got some hidden units. I think namely the Sudanese gunners, who you'll see later on. I think a unit of cav is hidden, and so are a unit of Hashishim, who are assassins. So at the beginning, I see 2 units of desert cav hidden in the trees there. Not really hidden because I see them, but those are Jav cav. So I decide to open the battle with my horse archers dueling it out with his Jav cav. I think because of my range advantage, you know, I can take him on. Now I really love this battle quite a bit because it's not over in minutes. There is a lot of decision making involved, a lot of tactical decisions made, and there's going to be setbacks, successes, setbacks. It's not over in one big battle. There's actually going to be several phases to this fight, and this opening phase is just going to consist of our cav fighting it out. But you can see my opponent did peel off a unit of horse archers, the Mamluk archers, to deal with my horse archers. And if you'll note, if you go back a few seconds, there was a red blip on the mini map, and that was my opponent slyly moving a unit into my side of the battlefield and hiding them there. He does not know I have 4 units of hidden cav in the same sector. But anyways, my opponent gets really close to me. I should have retreated a lot sooner than this, because I am taking a lot of damage from his desert cav, but at the same time I'm doing a lot of damage to his guys too. So in response, I peeled off my 2 units of con guards, which also included my commander, just to help out my 2 horse archers, who are very much under siege by his 3 units of skirmishers right there. But that 1 unit of Mamluk archers that he brought on are also horse archers, but they are high quality horse archers. I had the decision to bring higher quality horse archers myself, but in order to save money, I decided not to. I went with the two Mongol horse archers, but they do have a really good range though. But I had better options for this time period, which is all time period. That's the name of it, all time periods. So obviously with my 2 con guards here, he can't really fight it out in melee, so he's going to retreat into the forest. So I was able to save my initial setback with my horse archers here. Now this is actually a very good matchup. Egypt taking on the Mongols, because historically they did fight each other quite a bit. And the Egyptians would have been fighting under the Mamluk Sultanate. And when the Mongols fought, that was the Mongols going through the region of Syria, Egypt, that region. And the Mongols suffered quite a few setbacks fighting the Mamluks. They had a few successful battles too, but ultimately, the Mongols, they didn't really try very hard in this region. You know, they faced setbacks, and they didn't really send an army to avenge their defeats here. And a lot of that is attributed to the fact that the Mongols were also busy fighting themselves. So this is pretty much the extent of their expansion in this particular area. Anyway, so back to the battle. My opponent did peel off 2 units of melee cav. I believe they are the Royal Mamluks. So when I see them coming, I realize that I will be outnumbered if I stay there. So I also bring back my 2 units of con guards, and I also retreat my horse archers. I still have 4 hidden lancers in the back, or on my left wing, but I don't want to bring them out just yet. It's not time to do that. But again, my opponent did hide a single unit of Mamluks on my side of the battlefield. So here I make another mistake here with my cav. Here I stop retreating here. I figured that I was in range of my foot archers, which I am on one side, but my other unit of con guards who are further out, they are isolated right now. See that? They're about to get surrounded by 5 units of cav. So what I had to do is bring my 2 horse archers out, but it's gonna be too late by the time I get out there. So I am gonna end up losing that unit of con guards. And now the big mistake is I'm fighting out of range of my foot archers. I kind of lost sight of what I was doing, so I opened this battle really poorly. I just wasn't really paying attention and made some bad decisions here. So, okay, there you can see my guys are breaking there. They will come back, but the fact is I lost a lot of troops unnecessarily. So I do have 2 units of heavy lancers coming out to assist in this fight. And when my opponent sees that, he is going to back off. And I'm very wary about, pursuing, because I don't know what my opponent has hidden. Obviously, I know now what he has hidden. He has those Sudanese gunners hidden. He also has some Hashishim hidden and a unit of Mamluks. But I myself did not know what was hidden in that forest. So the forest was my enemy at that point. The forest on his side, not the forest on my side, since I already know what's on my side. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna push up my infantry. I've got all these foot archers, and I've got that little ridge in front of me right there. See that? I can put my infantry on top of there, and to see where his cav is, and I think some of his foot units might be in range of my archers if I get them on top of that ridge. So that is my next decision here, my next plan. But yeah, my opponent has a pretty good array of units, a very vast assortment of units. He has Saracen Militia, Tabadaraya, Nafatoons, Kurdish Javelinmen, Archer Militia, Desert... Oh, you already saw his Desert Cav. His Sudanese Gunners and his Hashishim. So, my opponent spent the remaining free florins on upgrades. So he had a lot of upgrades on his units. I had some upgrades. I spent about 2,220 florins on upgrades, but my opponent spent about 3,300 florins on upgrades. Oh wait, I was just looking at my unit roster. I actually did not get that unit back that retreated, because I started off with 20 unit slots. Now I'm down to 19, so they did not come back, unfortunately. I just realized that. So my opponent opened up the battle better than myself, but I'm gonna start taking terrain here. And my opponent's making the mistake of standing his ground, as you can see. he does not want to stay right there in the face of all my foot archers blasting away at his cav right now. So he's getting shot, and he is gonna retreat when he sees that he is completely outgunned. All right, so that's when he starts to move away. I even got my horse archers joining the fight. So despite my initial setbacks, I do hope to get some equality with my opponent. Wait, he's not retreating yet. He should be retreating. He should have retreated like a minute ago. But yeah, despite the initial setbacks, I still have my 2 units hidden over there in the forest, my Lancers. So with hidden units, I feel like if you take them out at the right time, they can turn the tide. They are a force multiplier when used properly, the use of hidden units. Not always, but if you can use them just right, you can completely turn back your previous setbacks. Alright, so my opponent sees that he's getting outgunned, so he decides to go after my horse archers again, and I see how badly bloody they are, so I'm going to turn back and just fight the melee range, because there's only 28 and 16, whereas I have 58 and 57 horse archers in that area. So by taking these guys out, I can rid the forest of his Mamluk archers, or so I think. So one's already retreating, and then the other is soon to retreat once I get stuck in there. But yeah, they are both routing, but you're going to see that they will come back from routing. But ultimately, they are destroyed as an effective fighting force on the battlefield, and I can rule this side. Or so I think. He still has those hidden units. But yeah, I was torn on just remaking the video footage completely so you can just see close-ups, but I figure, you know, some of you might be interested on the decisions I was making throughout the battle. And when you show footage from the replay, you lose a lot of that decision making. So you might get the really beautiful close-ups, but what you don't see are all the decisions that goes into fighting a battle. So that was one of my one of the pros and cons of doing commentary from the replay versus doing commentary live. You know, there's a trade-off. With live commentary, it's also easier to edit because you just slap your commentary on the video and upload it. But with a replay commentary, you have to watch the footage and then try to remember what you were doing. But people who don't own Total War, they have the benefit of seeing all the beautiful close-ups, which I don't really care for that, to be honest. So anyways, I've taken that terrain, and he's actually pulled back because he sees how big the radius is with my archer, so he's actually going to pull back. He has nothing that can match my range. I've already destroyed his horse archer force, basically, ultimately. He still has some short-range missile units. He still has those depleted Desert Cav, and he still has his 2 Sudanese gunners who have pretty good range, and also a unit of archer militia, which he is not using, but honestly, those units combined are no match for my 6 foot archers right now. Because my range is a lot better than his ultimately. Even though he has those Sudanese gunners, it's just 2 of them, and they are hidden still. So he doesn't really have a response to my foot archers. And it's that very fact that compels me to come forward. And it's going to help me erase my previous setbacks with the opening Cav skirmish. But he is very persistent. He's not giving up. That said, I'm going to chase after those depleted Desert Cav. I'm just going to cancel them out. In hindsight, I probably should have just let them alone. Let them do their own thing. Because my horse archers would have been a bit more useful in the upcoming fight. But it's one of those situations where I was like, I want to make sure they're off the field before I proceed. Or at least canceled out. Anyways, I decided to move my infantry forward, and you can see his Sudanese gunners are now coming out of hiding. See them? They're right there, just 2 units of them. They're kind of stretched out. So I know the Sudanese gunners have pretty good range, but the problem is with them, they don't have the same reload rate as my foot archers. At least I don't think so. I'm pretty sure archers have faster reload than gunners of this time period. Anyways, I'm keeping my Napatoons in the back. Now, when I see his infantry coming forward, I see the threat because I only have 4 units of melee infantry, so I am gonna pull back and do some more skirmishing here. If you're using a skirmish army, play to your strengths. There is no reason to play dumb and then engage melee with skirmish units. That would be playing to his advantage. Always play to your army's advantage. Always play to your strengths and weaknesses as a commander. My opponent made this really bad mistake of pushing up his Hashishim. And I made the mistake of trying to charge through my own men, because you can see my charge isn't quite getting to the Hashishim. Bum. Bum, 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 bum. If you're wondering what Hashishim are, they are melee units. Historically, they were assassins, basically. Very deadly. Alright, so he finally revealed his hidden unit of Mamluks there. And that's when I said, hey, you want to reveal your hidden units? I got hidden units too. I have my 2 remaining Lancers, who are now chasing his 1 unit of Mamluks. And I see the cav movement on my left flank. I see the danger, because I have all those foot archers exposed right now. But I'm going to quickly respond by sending in my 2 Lancers over there. Now he can still charge up there, he can. But I also have my Napatoons nearby. And I got my dismounted Lancers, who can go into tight formation and fight them off if need be. But yeah, I just lost my commander. I was kind of sad. Not really, because as you know, I always lose my commanders in Total War. Especially Rome 1 and Medieval 2. People always make the comment that I had my commander survive a battle whenever it happens, because it's a rare thing for me. Alright, so he has 2 units fighting against my 2 units on the left wing. And I brought back my horse archers to charge into his Sudanese gunners, but they get kind of bogged down there. Honestly, I should have pulled them out. I tried to, but they're kind of stuck right there. And also, I killed his enemy commander. And it's at times like this, when you see a unit starting to blink like that, you get really excited. And also a lot of anxiety, because you're not sure whose flags are blinking. Or you don't know whose flags will be blinking. Because once everyone starts throwing in all their troops into the big decisive mix, then you know crap's about to get real. But I was happy to see that it was his flags that started to blink. But I did a lot of good damage to him from far range, and as the Mongols, or as my army setup was shown, I had to do long range damage, otherwise he would have won at close range. Because again, I only have 4 foot melee units. I still have my Cav force, but you know, they could be cancelled out with his infantry. Ultimately, no, because Cav does rule in low Florin battles in Medieval 2. But generally speaking, he could have cancelled out my Cav. But I'm very happy with my positioning with my archers. They're just wrecking everything in that radius of their archery. And I got my my Napatoons trying to take part in the fight. His guys are gonna retreat. I did do some damage with my Napatoons, but it wasn't much damage. That was on the left wing. I don't know if you saw it, but my guys were tossing some Napatoon grenade things. And also when they got close to my foot archers, my Napatoons were lobbing their explosives at the enemy Cav. So yeah, they played a small part. I wish they played a bigger part, but sometimes it just happens that way when you buy a unit like this, and you don't get to use them as much as you thought you would. So my opponent, as I said, he's very persistent. He's not going to give up. He's going to fight to the bitter end. So we do have this little fight in the forest. So I'm going to keep pushing up my infantry, because he is resisting. Resisting really well, actually. He actually routed one of my units over there, as you can see. Is one of my dismounted units. And I have another unit blinking right there, too. So yeah, he is fighting to the bitter end. But if you look on the balance bar, I am winning this fight. I was really surprised, though, because whenever I use the Mongols, I have a very low success rate with them. Because in multiplayer, people always put rules. And it doesn't really favor the Mongols, I don't think. So I always do pretty poorly with them. Because, honestly, Mongol infantry isn't that great. And their cav is pretty good, but so is a lot of other cav of the other factions. So I just feel like the Mongols aren't as great as they were historically. That's my opinion. But maybe some of you are really excellent in Medieval 2. I'm not. But maybe you are way better using the Mongols. I just don't think they're that great in this game. But historically speaking, the Mongols are one of my top favorite peoples to read about. Notably Genghis Khan. A lot of the other Khans were very interesting to read about too. I also like reading about the medieval English. And then the Teutonic Order as well. But look at that, it was a very bloody battle. And look at my horse archers. Man, they got a lot of kills apiece, like 161 and 158. Pretty good kills by them. But good game to my opponent. He never stopped fighting. And he did start off better than myself in this fight. But I really did enjoy this battle quite a bit. Hope you did too.